hop in, get settled. I have my hot chocolate. I have cookies, and we're going to be talking holiday traditions in your corner of the world here in just a couple of minutes. Right, we are getting there. Hey, everybody. All right, I think we got stuff set up. Hey, Scott. I love the show. Hey, Alfred. Hey, Laurie. I was getting their runs in this weekend, I hope. Hey, Ashley. James J in the house. Hey. Roll Tide. Speaking of Roll Tide, we got all kinds of Rhondas. Rhonda Lee up in Canada. We got Rhonda Long down in Birmingham. I'm still in shock. Rhonda, still, it's under the TV right now. Yes, Marlessa Page just got home from Mizzou about 10 minutes ago, and they're going to start the Christmas cookies tonight. Yes. Hey, Alan, what's going on? Adam is watching while Zwifting, which I don't know what Zwifting is, but I hope it is fun. Let me know what that is. Hey, George. Hey, Justin. See, let me show you real quick before we start. Cookies. The marshmallows are for the hot chocolate. I just didn't want to, it was too full, so let me just drop these in the hot chocolate here. Dun, 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 dun. Drop these in the hot chocolate. And I've got my hot chocolate in this cool mug that was sent to me by listener Chris, who has a nice Instagram account at 23 in Maine. So if you want to check that out, it's 23 in Maine on Instagram. All right, let's talk holidays. Let's get this thing going. Wow, that hot chocolate is still smoking hot. Hope I can drink it here during the show. At least marshmallows don't crunch. Making Christmas candy. You got to tell us about that, Tish. Christmas candy. We just make cookies. We got to talk about, too, what cookies you make. We make some, we always make some of the same cookies every year, which I hope they start tonight. We'll talk about that. Oh, Mary Poppins. Nice. I've only seen it once. I know, I'm a bad Disney fan. Here we go. Happy Sunday night, everybody, and happy Merry Christmas Eve. If you're listening to the show on the podcast feed, it is coming out on Thursday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. So I hope that you are getting ready or already gathered with your loved ones, whether in person or virtually through Zoom or any other means. I just hope that you're having a wonderful holiday season. If you celebrated Hanukkah, hope you had a great festival, and you got to, again, gather with loved ones and reflect on all the blessings that we've had in this very challenging year of 2020. While many things were tough, many things were unprecedented. You know, we had a lot of challenges. We had a lot of sadness. If you look back, I think we could probably find 2 or 3 things to be very grateful for, even in this most difficult year. So I hope that you do reflect back on that. But most importantly, again, it's Christmas Eve as you're listening to this on the podcast feed. We're getting together a few nights earlier here live on Facebook or YouTube, and we're going to be talking about holiday traditions, which I think in 2020, these are the glue that are going to hold us together. While we might not be able to necessarily partake in our typical holiday traditions, hopefully we can modify those so that we can hang on to some of those things that we've loved over our, maybe our childhood, or maybe as we've become parents ourselves, that we've started new traditions with our kids, and we could talk about those things, even if you're not with friends or family, maybe you can do these things virtually. And I'll give an example here in just a few minutes of a holiday tradition that I had just started a couple of years ago that I don't do in person, but I do with my best friends via social media. So we are going to have a good time to talk some holiday traditions. So again, this is Mike Rallman. If you don't know, I hope you do. I'm the host of the Be Our Guest podcast, one of the great agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. We just want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and happy holiday season. And we're going to get together again tonight to talk holiday traditions. One thing I want to ask you is if you have ever celebrated Christmas Eve or Christmas Day down at Walt Disney World. Now, I never have. We are very traditional around here. We're not going to go down for that, but we've gone many times after because my wife and I were both teachers. We would go down on the 27th or so and stay that week between Christmas and New Year's and have a blast. Now, I've been there many times for New Year's Eve. Holy cow, Walt Disney World New Year's Eve is a party. Epcot is crazy under normal circumstances, but never, ever did I wake up at Walt Disney World on Christmas. And I really don't know if that's kind of my jam. I know Pam Forrester loves doing that. And I love the idea of it. But again, I love also waking up in my house with our same tree that we have every year because we are a artificial tree family. I don't know if you're what your persuasion is on your Christmas tree. Do you get a fresh tree every year? Do you have the same one that you drag out of the storage closet and every year you're saying, this thing is so tore up looking. We got to get a new one next year. And we never do. We always keep the same one. So we'll talk about that. So let's talk about your holiday traditions. Again, we're going to have the phone lines open the whole hour because I want to get as many people in as we can. The number is going to be 407-413-9395. That's 407-413-9395. Now, before we get to the first call of the night, let me just give a couple of our holiday traditions here right off the top of the show. One thing that was a holiday tradition for me growing up is I talked about on Mike in the Midwest about how I worked at the skating rink growing up. I worked at Spinning Wheels Roller Rink. I ran the place. We had probably a staff of like 20 people that worked off and on, part-time. And so the owner, our holiday tradition for our Christmas party, because we worked really hard during Christmas. It was very busy up to Christmas. And then, of course, once school got out, we were always open, because the kids needed something to do. So we'd be really busy. But right after the holidays, our holiday tradition at the skating rink was that our boss took us skiing. Now, you might say, oh, my gosh, you're in St. Louis. Your boss took you skiing. Did he take you to Colorado? Did he take you out to Nevada, to Reno? Did he take you to California? No, he took us to this place called Hidden Valley, which is about 35 minutes outside of downtown St. Louis. It's right outside of our Six Flags, if you've ever been to Six Flags in Missouri. And what it is, it's a golf course. It's a really hilly golf course in the summertime, but in the wintertime, to make some more money, and they started doing this probably 30 years ago, they got these snowmaking machines. So they would, once it got cold enough, they would shoot water into these big tubes. They had huge fans on them, and they would make snow over the hills, and they put in a couple of ropes that would pull you up the hill if you held onto the ropes. There was one ski lift. It was just kind of like a bench that you sat on, and it took you to the top of the hill. It wasn't a gondola. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just basically a bench in the air. It was kind of spooky, but it took you to the top of the hill, and you would go skiing. Now, again, when we were in college and high school and stuff like that, working at Spinning Wheels, going skiing was a really big deal because I want to say a ski lift ticket that day was like $50, maybe $60 for the day. So it wasn't something that we got to do very often. So it was very generous of Ron to take us all out to Hidden Valley. And so we would ski, have a good time. And for the most part, most of us were pretty good skiers, even though we had no business skiing because we're from Missouri. We didn't have any lessons or anything. But a lot of us were hockey players and speed skaters and stuff like that. So we got by. We had a good time. We definitely had a lot of wipeouts. But we would ski. And I think skiing went until about 10 or 11. And then after that, Ron would rent out a room. Now, if you're from St. Louis, you might know this name, especially if you're from North County. We rented out a room at a pizza joint called Peroni's Pizza in Florissant, Missouri, which is where our rink was. The best Italian pizza ever. And we just got whatever we wanted. He put the bill on that. So it was always a good time that we get to go skiing and have the best pizza in St. Louis. And it was very kind. And we had a good time with that. So that's kind of some of my traditions. I'll get a couple more in here as we go. But we do have a call coming in. So let's do it. That's why we're here. Hey, who's on the line? Hello, caller. Got you here.
Oh, hi. Hi, my name's Rebecca. I'm calling from Pennsylvania about my holiday traditions.
Yes. How you doing, Rebecca? Thanks for calling.
Hi, I'm well, thanks. Love the podcast, by the way.
Yay.
But our family holiday tradition is making rollout German cookies. So they're kind of like a butter cookie, and you have to roll out the dough very thin and use different shaped cookie cutters to cut the cookies. And that's always been our family tradition, and actually got together with my mom and my sister today to make the cookies. So I thought I would call in and share that.
I love that. So now, do you just make that kind of cookie, or do you make is that like your staple, or do you make others, or do you make 100 of those? Like, what's your cookie baking look like around your place?
Yeah, so that's our claim to fame cookie, right? So that's our main one that we're really strict about following the recipe as we've done in our family for years. And there's really strict quality control on those cookies to make sure they live up to my great grandmother's standards. So my mom always makes sure we're making them thin enough and everything like that. But we make other types as well. Today I made chocolate chip cookies, and I put extra chocolate chips in them. Like, I think it's called Gideon's. Is that I've never been there, but the cookies in
that's a place that just
Disney
opened at Disney Springs.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've seen those cookies. I can't even go in that because I have no self-control in those cookies. They gotta be like 2,000 calories with that many cookies, with that many chips. That's just crazy.
Yeah, so I'm just pouring in all the chocolate chips that I can, and maybe they taste somewhat like those ones in Disney. I haven't had them yet, but yeah.
Oh my gosh. So now is that recipe, you said it was from your great grandmother. Is it something that's regional to Pennsylvania, or do you know kind of the backstory on that type of cookie?
Yeah, I think they are of German heritage. My ancestors are German. So I don't really know the full history behind it, just that maybe it's just a cookie that my great grandmother really liked. I don't know, but my mom had those memories of always making them when she was young and she was a child, and they've passed that down to my family. And it's a big thing. We usually all try to get together with my cousins and everything and make the cookies together. But this year we did it on a much smaller scale.
Right.
But yeah, it's something that I definitely want to keep alive in our family and pass it down to the next generation if I have children, and my siblings have children in the future.
You got to get passing down cookie baking. That's a requirement. You got to keep the cookies going.
Definitely.
That's for sure. Yeah, and I know one of the kind that we make. I shouldn't say we. It's the girls. You mentioned quality control. That is my role. I just, as they come out of the oven, I taste random cookies just to make sure they're okay. And and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about that one. Let me give me another one. But I don't know if people make these, because I heard somebody mention these on another like non-Disney podcast I was listening to, and they acted like that nobody had heard of them, but we make what are called green wreaths. And so they're not Rice Krispie treats, but I think they're like cornflakes, but you make them in the shape of kind of like a big wreath, and you put green food coloring on top of them, and you put Red Hots as the little bow, or the little ribbon at the bottom. And they taste kind of like Rice Krispie treats, a little bit sweeter. But that's the one that I'm just dying for right now, because Paige just got home as we're recording about a half hour ago, and they weren't going to start making cookies till she got home from Mizzou. So fortunately, the basketball game ended this afternoon. She's home. So I told them, when I go upstairs, I need to feel the heat from the oven. I mean, an hour from now, we need to have some cookies rolling out of that oven. That's so cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've never heard of those Christmas wreath ones, but
yeah, I'll post them on Instagram. They look cool for Instagram, and they taste even better.
Yeah, definitely do that.
I'll put them out there. Well, hey, thank you so much for calling, and happy holidays. I sure appreciate you taking the time to call.
My pleasure. Thanks. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. Yeah, making Christmas cookies, I think, is probably one of the things that is a tradition for a lot of folks. But depending on where you live and your family background, they're probably very different cookies. I bet your platter looks a lot different. All right, let's head out to New York. Alfred on the line. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Alfred. What's going on?
Hi, Merry Christmas, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here with hot chocolate that I'm waiting to cool off so I can actually drink it. I'll give it a sip here.
Come up here. It's cold.
Ooh, still hot.
Cool right down.
Yeah, it's been warm here, but then on Christmas Eve, I think it's going to get down to 11. So we'll get a taste of cold here soon.
Yeah, 1 week till Disney. I can't wait.
Oh man, you're so close.
it's coming. It's close.
Are you going to go to Disney
So,
Springs, by the way?
Yes.
You should get one of those Gideon's
Yeah.
cookies that we just talked about. Those things look so good.
Really?
Oh my God.
Okay.
They might have 728 chocolate chips in them from the pictures I've seen.
Yeah, and billion
can't.
calories.
Yeah, that's why I don't even go.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's certain places I just cannot do. I can't. Here's the other thing too. The other night, you you guys have Cracker Barrels, or have you been to a Cracker Barrel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have the store, as you wait to go in to get your table. So they sell these chips that my grandma always used to get called Charles chips. I had them on my Instagram, and they're so good because my God, they taste like my childhood, because I haven't had them since I was like 10. I probably haven't had them 30 years. So I see they have them at Cracker Barrel. I got some barbecue ones like about 3 months ago, and I just tore them up. So I went to get them the other night when we went to Cracker Barrel again, and the only ones they had were the salt and vinegar ones. Dude, these things, they are like cocaine or something. Like I could not stop eating them. I was like, I was like, just one more, and like almost the whole bag was gone. So we had Cracker Barrel this weekend. I almost told my wife, I was like, go in and get another. Then I thought to myself, no, do not get a bag of those. I do not need those in the house, and so I can't. So that was my tradition. Don't get the Charles chips.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll tell you about that too. My grandfather used to own a butcher shop and a vegetable stand, and he used to have the chips hanging up on the hooks, and they were Charles chips.
Oh.
So every time we'd go there, didn't matter when it was, got to have a bag of chips. So I remember those very vividly.
Yeah, my grandma had the tin. Like they were in a tin, and I thought she got them because my grandpa's name was Charles. Both of my grandpas had a name of Charles. That's why my middle name's Charles. But she had the tin, and it's $28 on Amazon. I need to quit being a cheapskate and just buy one, because I need one. I need that in my life.
Buy one.
Yeah, I need it. But I don't need the chips because I just eat them all like immediately. I got to stop.
I know. I can't. Regular Lay's chips I can't stop eating, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'm telling you. Yeah, well, that's the slogan, right? No one can eat just 100.
Yeah. Just one. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So my holiday traditions they start on Christmas Eve and they don't stop till Christmas Day, late at night. Every year, Christmas Eve starts with some kind of fish dinner. Okay.
Interesting. That would never fly in this house, by the way, because nobody likes fish with me. But yeah, go ahead. I'll meet you.
Well, yeah, we had the Feast of the Seven Fishes as a kid. My grandmother used to make every fish you could think of.
Wow.
It was always on everything, from shrimp to clams casino, stuffed clams, everything. Name it, it was on the table.
This is my wife's worst nightmare, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah. As years have gone on, we kind of kept that tradition, but now for the past, I'd say, 12 or so years, it's gone to more of shrimp scampi.
Is it the festival of the one fish, one small fish?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
I like it. That'd be me.
We just can't eat 7 anymore. It's just too much food.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we have a nice meal with that, and usually a shrimp cocktail first. So we get at least cocktail. 2 fish in.
Nice. Oh, I love shrimp.
Or 1 fish, 2 types. So, so that's that, and then we have our cookies, of course. My mom makes the cookies.
Well, okay, so what's the one cookie you would mention? Like I said, the green wreaths. We had the butter cookies.
Okay, we have the seeded cookies. We have the Anisette toast.
I have no idea what these are. I got to Google all this.
We have pizzelles.
Not a clue.
Pizzelles are unbelievable. And my mom, I made her give me some today when I saw her, because I can't wait till Christmas. It's not happening. So I said, you must give me those cookies.
Yeah, that's how I've been getting. I've been getting cranky. I said, I'm going to go to the store and buy that variety plate if I don't get some real cookies here soon.
Yeah. And then she does their butternut balls.
Yes.
And then she makes a cookie that has white icing on top.
Oh, God.
Those are the standard ones usually. I was trying to get her to make strufala, and strufala are little honey balls. So that you got to cut them really tiny, then you fry them, and then you put honey in on top of them. Those are delicious, but she has not made them in probably a good 8 or 10 years.
I am learning that we have a very boring Christmas tradition already in 20 minutes of this show.
Then we move on to Christmas Day. Now, as we get older, it's all about the littler kids,
Right.
Of course. But because there's so many different facets of the family now, it's usually just me, my sister, my nephews, and my mom, and my aunt and uncle. So it's basically appetizers first, dinner. Dinner this year, it's usually like a ham, sometimes a pasta dish. This year we're doing lasagna. Keep trying to get my mom to make them on a gut, but she won't do that either.
So let me stop you there, because I've heard a lot of folks do lasagna for Christmas. I guess that's an Italian thing, I mean, obviously, but and also I heard some people were having lasagna for Thanksgiving. I heard that on like 2 or 3 other podcasts, and people were like, well, we're not going to have a whole bunch of people over, so we don't want to get a big turkey. And so they did lasagna, and I thought lasagna was crazy for Thanksgiving, but I think it is more common for Christmas. I mean, we do like ham and turkey and stuff again. But.
Yeah. Well, we don't do the turkey per se for Christmas. We do the ham usually. But the lasagna, some kind of pasta dish, and usually meatballs and sausage to go with that. So it's not stop eating. And then we do the desserts. So we have all the cookies again.
Cookies?
Cookies, and more cookies. Pretty much. So it's like a lot of food, but it's a lot of fun.
But also, as I'm thinking about this from a practical sense, like pastas will save for like leftovers a lot easier than most other foods. So, during that week between Christmas and New Year's, where everybody's kind of off their schedules and, you're just kind of eating all the time. For me, I'm watching bowl football games and stuff. And I mean, I could fire up, if I had lasagna, I'd be taking a chunk off that thing every day and having it till New Year's.
Yeah. So, and then after dinner is when we usually open gifts before dessert. So it's in between.
Wow.
Because my youngest nephew will never wait.
Yeah, that was me too.
He's hyper as it is.
Same.
So
I was the same way.
He will never wait. Yeah. So so it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, I'm getting ready because my tradition is, 2 days later, get on a plane. And that's every year.
I wish I was.
Now, you mentioned one time, how you would never go to Disney on Christmas Day.
I don't know. I don't think so. Not on the actual day, like the 26th, all good. Yeah. But I got to wake up in my house, I think.
Right. Well, 16 years ago, me and my sister, and at that time, 2 nephews, we went to dinner at my mom's, and then we took off. So our flight was like,
best of both worlds.
4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, I could kind of see that.
So we got there. Yeah, we got there, and it was we didn't do any parks or anything, but we stayed at the yacht club, I believe.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was either yacht or beach. I forget which one now. So, but it was so much fun because we got there. We ate at Beaches and Cream.
By the way, R.I.P. the walk-up window. That's a goner. I know.
Yeah.
How hard is it to have a window?
And then we just relaxed, and then the next day we started the parks.
And that's when it gets crazy.
That year was a cold year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a cold year. I'll never forget that we went to see Fantasmic, and my sister bought a blanket just
Oof.
because it was so cold.
That'd be my
And we
luck.
all
I
got
would get
under that
wet.
blanket.
I would get wet too.
Yeah,
I'd be like, hey, sit in the front row.
Well, we were in the front row. You got it. I said, oh, let's sit in the front row.
Well, for a
I didn't
second
know
there,
at
though,
that time that you get wet.
yeah, well, you would be great there for a second, like when the lagoon catches on fire. Like, aha, it's like sitting around a
Right,
fire pit.
yeah.
This is great. And
But then it got cold again.
then,
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun.
yes. Okay.
I can't wait.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
one other thing because I want to get everybody else in here real quick.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
what's one favorite toy? Like something you got as a kid, like one of something you haven't mentioned before, like a favorite toy from that you got on Christmas from your childhood.
Yes, Atari 5200.
Oh, I never had one of those. I had a 2600.
Oh, yeah. That was actually a gift from my parents and my grandparents.
Nice.
So that was a nice memory because my grandparents stayed over Christmas Eve with us. And we woke up and that was the gift, that we got to open. So it was nice.
That's awesome. Well, hey, Alfred,
Yeah.
I know you're heading down,
Yep.
but if I don't talk, I'm sure I'll see you before then. But if I don't, have a Merry Christmas and just have the best trip ever. I can't wait to
Yep.
hear all about it.
Thanks. And have a great holiday yourself.
right.
And happy 2021.
Oh, yes, it's going to be way better. It has to be. Thanks, Alfred. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right.
You stay safe. Okay. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, 407-413-9395. I love the show because I love getting to learn about all these great traditions. And apparently all these Italian Christmas traditions are very popular in our podcast family by the chat room here. A lot of people love the pizzelles, and I've never heard of those. Marlessa says she has a lot of those same cookies in the Festival of the Seven Fishes, which I've never heard of. I'm also not Catholic, so I know that might be something that the Catholic folks do. We don't do that, but yeah, it's so funny. And Tammy Orr says her Austrian mother always made Linzer cookies. She says this is gonna be her first Christmas without her, so I'll be thinking of you, Tammy, this holiday season. But she's gonna try to carry on the tradition herself, which for me, it's what do they say? It's the effort that counts. We're gonna be rooting you on. Let's make those cookies, even if they don't taste exactly the same. It's the memory, right? It's not the cookies. So that's great that you're carrying that on. Marlessa also says she's Team Fish, and she did the festival, the Feast of the Seven Fishes, not the festival. It's the feast. And let's see, Mike Bankhead, our good friend he's actually watching over on YouTube, takes care of us over on the Be Our Guest podcast. Let's just, hey, that's a good thing to think about real quick. In the new year, if you were going to make a resolution to maybe get back in shape a little bit, whatever it is, come join us on the Lizards. Just go to Be Our Guest Lizards on Facebook. Just come on over. We walk, we run, we talk, we do it all. We cheer each other on. We root each other on. We wear bright colors. We'd love to have you. So just go to Be Our Guest Lizards on Facebook. And in the new year, if you want to join the best team out there, the most encouraging team to make a lifestyle change or just to get a little in shape in the new year, come on over. All right, let's get the next call. We're heading up to Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Cornhuskers are coming off of a big win out at Rutgers, I believe. What's up, Wade? Happy holidays.
Hey, Mike, happy holidays. You also big win, and evidently that was the last game of the season because they said, nope, no bowl game, we're done.
Yeah,
so call it good. So
it's a tough call this year, right? I mean, because it's not going to be the same, week-long kind of experience for the athletes. I mean, they're going to have to go through the COVID protocols for another couple of weeks. Yeah, I understand. Like, it's a big deal as an athlete probably to go to a bowl game, but I also get the teams that are opting out and just like, you know what? It's been a long fall. Let's call it a wrap. I get it.
Yeah, I do too. I totally do too. Well, I'd sure love to watch another game. I totally get that too. And yeah, like you said, it's really just like an away game. They said they'd fly in a day before, play the game in front of very few or no fans, and then fly home. And it's kind of like, do you want to do this for another, week or two? So I get it.
Yeah.
Let them go celebrate Christmas with their families they haven't, been able to spend any time with. So
yeah,
totally
I mean, as football fans, we have to just be thankful that we got a season, right? I mean, especially you guys in the Big Ten, it looked like you weren't going to play at all. So we got games. I mean, we got all 10 of our regular season games. Plus, I mean, I thought we were going to get a Florida bowl game, dude. I was so ready to go to Tampa because everybody kept saying we're getting Outback Bowl. We're getting the Outback Bowl. And so Mizzou got the first choice of like 4 bowl games. 3 of them were in Florida. 1 was in Nashville, and we picked Nashville so that the athletes' parents could go down and watch them a little bit easier. I'm like, what are you doing? I was getting ready to buy my plane ticket to Tampa on January 2nd, but yeah, it didn't happen. So whatever.
Oh man, and Nashville was one that they were thinking about. Nebraska was in the mix for had they opted in to go, and so I was actually thinking, wouldn't it be great to go play like a Missouri or
like an old Big 12 matchup? That'd have been fun.
It would have been fun, but it's not to be, alas.
No, it's fine. It is what it is. So hey, what's your holiday tradition?
Well, a couple of years ago, if you remember, I called in and talked about making jambalaya on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
And that is still our holiday tradition, which started because we got home from Disney World on Christmas Eve one day and really had nothing to make except like a box where you could make jambalaya and some sausage and frozen shrimp. So we threw it all together, and I was back in 2003 or something like that. And so we've made jambalaya every Christmas Eve since then. Well as, I guess we throw in, some fish, some shrimp in there, right? Yeah. Some shellfish.
I've only had jambalaya like 2 times. I had it one night when I worked at Space Camp. We had a Cajun night for our teachers, and because every night we did a theme night for the International Space Camp. So we had Cajun night because we had the Louisiana teacher was in charge that night, and then I had it once at Riverside. So we have places in St. Louis because obviously we're right on the river and a lot of kind of New Orleans influence on the river. But yeah, I've only had it twice, but I liked it both times. It's just I got to go out of the way, and plus again, my wife would not go around it, so I just hate that.
You can leave the shrimp out and just do sausage and rice. Essentially, that's what you got, right? A little spice to it. So
absolutely, sounds so good.
But yeah, we keep doing that, and I am realizing after listening to Alfred and some of the chat features that our Christmas cookie game is way low on the spectrum of Christmas cookies. We're like the sugar cookies, and then I've got 2 sons and myself with zero artistic ability of frosting or drawing on a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So they are like, and it's kind of become like the how bad can our Christmas cookies look after we get the frosting and go at it. It's like, man, that's bad, but it tastes good.
Look at it though as like they didn't used to be ugly Christmas sweaters, right? They used to just be Christmas sweaters, and they didn't used to be ironic when you wore them, and now hey, they all taste as good, decorate them ugly, make it say they're the ugly Christmas cookie contest or something. Yeah, who cares? You're gonna eat them.
That's pretty much what it is. All these fancy ones, I'm like, yeah, no, we don't make those. No, we don't make those. No, I can buy a 10 of those at Costco, I think, for $10.
That was the best thing I found last year was that Costco. Remember, I raved about that for like a month. And we don't have a Costco card. We borrowed somebody's card to go get one. We haven't done that this year, so I don't have any. But yeah, there was like a plate of like 80 or 90 cookies of different varieties. And those things were so good. They probably have them again this year. Do they have them? Have you been around?
We have not bought one, and I haven't been to Costco in the last couple of weeks, but I was thinking about it as you were talking about the show this week, thinking, I remember Mike talking about the big plate of cookies from Costco. So
and it was like cheap. It was like $10. It was like $10. There's no way you could have bought like the ingredients for that.
No, exactly. That's the thing. We do go back and forth a couple times. Do we make cookies? And we end up doing it, and it's like, the cutouts and they're the red and the green frosting, and then my boys, they're older now, but still they get to that thing, they start squeezing. I'm like, oh my God, this is a train wreck of Christmas cookies. Right.
Once you get the kitchen destroyed, you're like, we should have just bought them. You know what? Like there's flour on the lights above the sink. You're like, dude, we should have bought cookies and saved our kitchen. But it's the memories, right? It's the process. It's the idea of doing, traditional things.
Exactly. And God bless my wife, because she's the one who cleans up the entire mess that we make in the kitchen. So I would give her all the credit in the world for being a saint and being like, all right, get out. I'm going to clean this up now.
That's great.
But yeah, another tradition we do have, and we actually do it tomorrow night, is ever since I was a little kid, my father was active in the Salvation Army, and so we would always go out and ring bells.
Oh, cool.
In front of like one of the department stores, and so I did that as a little kid. Thought it was the coolest thing ever. We used to have like a little house you could go in and warm up, and it was always like 5 degrees out or something. So we started doing that years ago with our kids, as a way to give back and something to do and teach them lessons that not everybody is as fortunate as they are, and it's an important thing to do during the holiday season. And so we've done that now for about 20 years. And now my boys are 20 and 25, believe it or not. And they still like to do it. We still do it as a family. We go out, we'll do it tomorrow night in front of Shields, a big sporting goods store here. And we had a lot of fun. We put on the Santa hats, put on the blinking lights like you had.
Yeah,
we buy a couple of those boxes of candy canes, and I guess we'll just put the box out so people can grab their own candy cane. I don't want to touch it. They're little individually wrapped ones.
Yeah.
But,
it's such a weird year, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's so weird like you want to tell people like, thank you. Like I care about you, like I want to give you a hug or I want to give you a handshake. No, can't do it. It's like, I'm not being standoffish. I'm trying to keep you alive. It's so weird.
It is weird. Yeah. And we got the whole thing of wear the mask, keep the distance from the kettle, let people approach, stay away, all that. But we get to do it, ring the bells. And so we'll do it for a couple hours. We did 4 hours, I think last year. It's 2 hours tomorrow. So we enjoy doing that. It's kind of become a tradition. Like, when are we going to ring the bells?
So did you, in all the years that you've done that, did you have any like really interesting interactions? Like, somebody say anything that really touched you, or did any, maybe a famous person come up at any point or anything? I've always wondered, because you would have to see a lot of folks like pass through as you're ringing the bell there.
You do. And actually, and where we do it is it's kind of an outdoor shopping area. And I don't know if you have Shields in St. Louis, but I think they're based out of Des Moines actually, but huge sporting goods store. I mean, they're fantastic. They're like better than Dick's, better than, the one here has a Ferris wheel inside the store.
We need that.
Yeah, they're crazy. It's crazy. That's where I go buy anything sporting goods. You go there. So I've seen a lot of like Husker football coaches come by.
Nice.
Seen people come by that you think wouldn't put a quarter in, pull out $100 bill and put it into the kettle, and then they thank you sincerely for standing out there. Because we've done it in snowstorms. We've done it when it's been 55, 60 degrees. Done it when it's been 3 degrees and almost like a blizzard. And so you get to see people that. And sometimes you see the people you think, oh, they're gonna put something in. They don't. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. They don't look at you. That's right. All right. Who knows? Maybe they gave it at church, or they gave it somewhere else.
They gave it Sports Authority.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Then it's kind of fun. You see people walking out with like armloads of stuff. You're like, yeah, come on, put a dollar in, right?
Dude, you got a trampoline. Throw $5 in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you do have some of those interesting interactions with people, and they tell you stories about how they rang bells, or they did it with their family, or things like that. And I've seen people write checks for hundreds of dollars and put it into the kettle, and that's pretty cool. And it's a lot of fun. It does give you just at least a little bit, taught my kids hopefully a little bit, that it's important to do things like that for other people, because there are a lot of people at holiday season that just aren't as fortunate,
right,
as we are. And so,
yeah, we've been getting together, since March and talking about things. We've had all those live shows, in the spring and early summer. And the thing is, we all had a big shakeup to our lives, but you're right. I think most of us that are gathered together here on the live chat or listening on the feed, I mean, most of us are fortunate that we have our health, we have our families, and we have the things that are the most important. We might be struggling a little bit with work. We might be looking for something else to do. But for the most part, I think that, we're still pretty blessed to be where we are.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. We are. And I know that 2021 is, we had a Zoom Christmas party, which is pretty odd, because our company, we're used to getting together with some pretty cool parties in California. And this year was a Zoom party, which was fun. But, we're all looking forward to 2021, and how I always say the promise of a new year in normal times. It's like, okay, time to reset, new year, resolutions. What am I going to do differently this year? Excited for it. This year, it really holds some like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till 2021, the new year, the promise of everything that's going to happen, and getting back to some semblance of normalcy. And every week and month will bring us a little bit closer to that, I believe. And that's what I'm looking for. So
yeah.
And hopefully it's true.
I'm with you. I think that the thing is, we're starting and we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, right? I mean, we're starting to get where we can see that things, God willing, that they do keep moving in this direction. They're not going to probably move as quickly as we want them to, because I think we're all just, ready to be done with this. But as long as we can start to see progress, I think we can hang in there. And I think we're seeing it. Like, we're seeing the vaccinations happening. We're seeing plans. We're seeing just, and I was talking to this, I was actually walking the dog this afternoon, and there's this elderly lady that walks around our lake too. And she actually walks every morning when I run at like 6 a.m. God bless her. And it's freezing cold, and she's out there walking. I love this lady. She does 10 laps. But this afternoon we were walking, and and she goes the opposite direction. But this time I walked alongside her with the dog. And, you know, we were talking about this year and all that stuff and how we can't, you know, she has kids and grandkids and it's going to be tough to see them at Christmas. But the bottom line was we had this epiphany that, you know what, just when we get through this, say whether it's in June or September or November, whenever it is, that we're just going to be so thankful and so appreciative of the small things, right? Just being able to go to your Mexican restaurant on a Friday night and sit down and have dinner with those you love, or, you know, not wear a mask when you go to the grocery store. I mean, simple things. Just get out and live life, go to see a movie and, you know, and not have to wait outside of a store. Like, you know, if you go to the mall, you got to line up and queue up to get into a store because they can only hold like 7 people at a time. I just think that it's going to refocus us, that I think it's going to, you know, in the long run, I think we're going to be more appreciative of the things that we were just not even thinking about in the past.
I agree 100%, you know, agree 100%. I think that's all. That's what we will be really thankful. I've told even, you know, my mother and my wife's mother, you know what? Yeah, we're not going to all get together for Christmas, but imagine the party we're going to have when we can do it. It's going to be fantastic, and we'll be even more appreciative. And yeah, the vaccinations. My son's girlfriend's an ICU nurse, been working on the COVID floor since this thing started. She got her vaccination last week. Feels great. You know, it's just little progress, like things like that we can all look forward to. And yeah, we're going to be wearing masks for a while. We're going to have to be careful for quite a while here, I'm sure, just to be sure we're safe. But it's one day is one step closer to back to normalcy. One step closer to running a Run Disney race.
Oh my gosh!
Someday.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I said this, you know, when we were talking like in April and May, you know, every day that we get up in the morning, we're one day closer to this thing being over. And I mean, it's just common sense says that was true the first day that this happened, right? The next day we're closer to it being over. But I mean, we are making progress now. You know, like in March and April, we were just trying to we had no idea, you know, it's like just holding on to the roller coaster and just going for the ride. But I think now we've got an idea of where the track's heading, and we know how to stop the machine. We just got to get the momentum stopped. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yep. No doubt. Well, I know you got other callers who want to call in. So Mike, it's great to chat with you for a few minutes. And
love talking to you.
Have a great holiday.
Yeah, you too. And have a good one with your family. Hey, thank you for getting out there for the Salvation Army. That means a ton because that helps so many people.
I'll be out there tomorrow at 5:00 if anybody's around Lincoln, Nebraska. It's our shield.
I've driven there many times, and I'm not driving there tomorrow.
Okay.
See you later.
Right.
Have a good one. You have a great holiday. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay,
take care. Yep, bye.
All right, one of my favorite callers there, Wade from up in Lincoln, Nebraska. And see, I mean, the world can happen. He's a Cornhusker fan. I'm a Mizzou fan. You got to understand the history there. In my old classroom, you got to understand, in my classroom where I taught, since 2003, I had a poster hanging that just said victory. And it was the night we beat Nebraska finally, where we ripped down the goalposts, and it showed the goalposts being carried off of Faurot Field, Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. That's how much we wanted to beat the Huskers. But now we're friends because we have a Big Ten and then a SEC team. So we're not in the same conference. It helps. All right, we have our next caller on the line. I believe it's Marlessa. I think we got her in. Is it?
It is. Hi, Mike.
Good.
Happy Sunday. Happy Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas. I was worried about the Verizon weird ring thing. I was trying to Google it while Wade was talking. It was hard. So that's done. Okay, good.
Oh, yes. Like, I don't know if it's Skype and Verizon. I don't know. It's like once in a while, like, your call cannot be completed. Is that? I'm like, no, I have the right number.
Skype's a mess, but we do what we can.
Yeah.
So give us. So you had some of the same traditions Alfred had. You knew about all that stuff. See, I'm kind of out of the loop on all that.
I did. So what's interesting, I was going to speak a bit about like my childhood Christmas, because what's interesting is that, so growing up, I'm an only child, so my dad's side is 100% Italian. So a lot of the stuff that Alfred was talking about was similar to some of my traditions, and also a really cool thing that my paternal grandparents always did. They're older now, so they don't do this as much, but they would always make cannoli.
Yes.
And they would make enough cannoli for us, like the family, but they also did this really great thing where they would make, gosh, I don't even know how much, but let's just say a lot. And they would actually kind of go door to door and deliver it to a lot of their neighbors, and especially some like older people in the neighborhood. And it was like always like a really cool thing that I thought they did, because my paternal grandfather was, pretty well known for his like Italian cooking, and then my Nana for her Italian baking. So they'd kind of team up for the holidays, I guess, and do that, which is always really cool. But yeah, definitely the seven fishes for sure. For Christmas Eve when we would do that with my Nan and Poppy. And the other side of my family, my mom's side, is kind of like a mix of Russian and Polish and Greek and French in there. So what's kind of interesting for Christmas for me is, like I went to, the Catholic school for years, and again, like that, the Italian traditions kind of connected with that as well. But was technically baptized in like an Eastern Christian church. So while, I always grew up celebrating Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, my mom and I would also kind of acknowledge Russian Christmas, and which is January 7th. So because of that, we'd always keep our tree up until at least like January 8th or 9th, and I'd always get an extra present on January 7th.
Nice.
Which was cool. So I already have a December birthday, and then I have Christmas presents, and then I have an extra present.
Dang. So. See, the thing is, I hate taking down the tree because I'm a huge Christmas fan, and it's like, we keep it up till after the first of the year. We usually take it down maybe like the Sunday after New Year's. It's usually around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. It's before we had to go back to school. But it's kind of always sad because, then you got to wait a whole nother year for the holiday season to come around again. Yeah. And so at least you got a little bit of extra time and one more gift. That's even better.
Yeah, absolutely. So because now in having a New York City apartment, we have a fake tree. But growing up, I always had the real tree because in Pennsylvania, about, I think, a 10-minute drive or so, there was this really nice traditional Christmas tree farm. So my parents and I would go there, and my dad would have the saw, and he'd cut it down, and we'd take timber, and would carry the tree home. And which makes it even sadder in a way when it's a real tree, I think, because if it's a fake tree, you just box it up. If it's a real tree, it's like you're almost like losing a family.
That's true. See, I've never. Well, for one thing, I'm kind of allergic to. When I was a kid, I was allergic to I guess Christmas trees. I don't know. That's what I was always told, and it was so bad that I couldn't even, like, they had one in my kindergarten class, and they had to get rid of it because I was like breaking out or something. I know I was that kid, right, in kindergarten. I made the whole class suffer because I couldn't have it. So I've never in my life had a real Christmas tree, and I've always, you see it in the movies, right, or you see it like in commercials. The big bulky dude goes out with a saw and chops that tree down. Like, no, we go drag it out of the basement, and jam all the, arms into the big pole in the middle. And but here's the thing. And I've wondered this because you got a real one and a fake one. The thing is about the artificial tree is at least it's kind of nostalgic, right? Because that tree was with us at our old house. It's with us now at our new house. And I mean, it's kind of tore up looking, but it's the tree that we had. It's been here for all of Mallory's life. She's 12 and, and beyond that. So it's got history with us, even though it's kind of raggedy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like this one we've had for quite a few years. Like if we, moved eventually to like a bigger apartment or somewhere else, we'd probably maybe get a bigger one. But yeah, that's definitely a good point. Like it's not as sad. Like it's still sad to take it down because I still, like, to this day, leave my Christmas tree up until like January 8th-ish. And well, this year, like, I'll be in Disney World, like, as you know, like January 6th to the 11th. So I'm not taking it down till after Disney. Like I'm not, right. Because I want that, Christmas feeling to last as long as possible. But I don't know, but like the real tree, part of me still gets sad to not have a real tree. Like I don't want to have a real tree in my apartment because I know how much work it is with the needles and everything. But I don't know, there is something special about. I know you can't enjoy the smell of the tree maybe as much.
No, I love the smell, but I think you know what? I've grown out of a lot of, allergies and stuff. I'm older now, so I think I could probably have one, but I think now it's just that. Yeah, I think it's what we all do, right? It's just we have the fake tree, and so that's what we do. It's our tradition, even though, I would love to have that whole, go out to, because we have another, Christmas tree farm near us too. It's called Eckert's. It's like a place where you can go like pick strawberries and stuff, but they have Christmas trees in the wintertime. And I think it'd be fun, grab a saw and go out there and chop that sucker down. I mean, it just seems like, and again, it's probably more like I'm romanticizing it. I'm sure it's not as much fun as I'm picturing, like in a commercial for like, selling some kind of like $90,000 car where they go out and put it in the back of a truck or something. But like, going out there, probably like, trip and fall in the saw, cut my arm, it wouldn't be as fun. It'd be like, God, we got to walk 1.5 miles with this tree. I don't even know what it's all like. Yeah. It's probably not as fun as I'm guessing, but it would be fun to do once. Yeah. I think.
Well, if it makes you feel better, there were no sawed arms or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, I think like some years it was definitely harder to saw down the tree, depending on which one we picked. But it is fun. Like, I think as a kid, especially just kind of exploring that Christmas tree farm and then just kind of getting that feeling that this is the one we have to take home. And it's just like fun to see all of them and for the Christmas tree. And then obviously since I know you've been talking about cookies, like obviously, I'm a big baker, love baking the cookies. I usually don't bake right on Christmas Eve, but they baked a lot of different ones as a kid and as an adult as well. Try to switch it up with some new cookies sometimes. Like I started doing buttermilk cookies a few years ago and did some funfetti cookies, but always try to do something involving Hershey Kisses, either the peanut butter blossoms where they're outside or the Hershey Kiss inside the cookie. So
yeah,
like
we make
like
those.
that. But,
yeah, we make those with the like little peanut butter cookies with the Hershey Kiss that like in the center of it. We have those. Yeah, those are good.
So good. Yeah. As a kid, one of my mom and I did all the time were they're like kolache cookies, where they're kind of like a Polish thing, and they take so much time. Like their taste very cream cheesy, and you have to roll up the dough, and it's a whole process, and it kind of it's kind of cute. Like when you fold them, it's almost like you're wrapping a baby. Like you have a little bit of the like jam or preservative in there, like the apricot or a cherry or whichever flavor you want, and you're kind of like wrapping it. It's like, oh, it's like a little baby cookie.
Oh, cool. It sounds tasty too. Oh man, I need to. I got my store-bought sugar cookie here, my one cookie, so I got to keep chomping on that
to hold you over until yeah.
That's right. So let me ask you this with my mouth full. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie or TV special?
Charlie Brown Christmas for sure. Love it. And because the thing is, because I watched it all the time as a kid, like growing up, that was like a big deal. Also Rudolph, the claymation, Rudolph. And the thing I try to explain to my kids, and Paige is not as much, but Mallory especially, is that, I mean, okay, so when the end of Rudolph comes on, there's like a little piece, like you think it's over. And then it goes to a commercial break, and then it comes back for like maybe like a 1 minute part where like Santa flies off on the Rudolph and like he's in the sky and he's like, he'll go down in history. When I hear that, even to this day, I get sad because when I was a kid, when you heard that, like you knew you were not, and maybe it was just me. It wasn't probably anybody else, but it was me. I was like, dude, I'm not going to be able to see this again until next year because we didn't have a VCR and you only you didn't have streaming, you didn't have anything like it, you didn't have anything to watch it on. So the thing was, like when Rudolph was on or Charlie Brown Christmas, like you got one shot. And I mean, if you missed it, good luck next year, brother. You get 365 days to wait. And it was, it was traumatic when it was over because I liked it so much. It was kind of sad.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand that feeling. I love both the ones you said. I always say that my all-time favorite is it's in the same type of like style as Rudolph, but it's the Year Without a Santa Claus. I really love that one.
I've seen that, but I was listening to another podcast the other day. They were talking about their top 10 retro Christmas movies. And they were talking about that one. I don't recall like the whole thing though. I do remember I used to watch it though because I watched all those things. There's another one too with like, is that the one with like Heat Miser and Cold Miser and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's probably it. Yeah.
Love the Heat Miser and Snow Miser. And like Mrs. Claus has had a bigger role than she usually does, which is cool. And it's just like, it's so funny and zany and the music's great. There's a part where Santa goes undercover and his name is like Mr. Claus. And it's like, come on, you're walking around looking like Santa and your name's Mr. Claus. Like, come on. Like, what is this? It's like, it's crazy. It's silly, but it's great. And that one I always try to watch on Christmas Eve because I really like that one so much. And then my guilty pleasure is Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger because it's just so silly and over the top.
I've only seen that once because I don't watch the long movies a lot. We did watch, Mallory made us, and I'm glad she did on Friday night. She's like, we are going to watch the Polar Express and we are going to drink hot chocolate while we watch it. And so my wife went to Starbucks and she got us all three hot chocolates, which I don't like Starbucks. It tasted like coffee. I drank a little bit of it. Then I went and made my packet of Swiss Miss or whatever it is. Like the you get, 10 packs for $1. Tasted way better. Made that out of the sink and it was fine, but it was great. I love watching that movie. So our tradition on Christmas Eve in our family, that kind of right before we go to bed, we've done this ever since Mallory was a baby, is that we have a few. We read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. We read that book or that poem. We have a book. It's like put out by Coca-Cola with like the Coca-Cola Santa. So we pull that out every year. Read that. We read the Polar Express, and we read the Christmas story out of the Bible. We read those three things, and then it's time for Mallory to go to bed, and then Santa visits, and we get up in the morning. But yeah, that's our like right before bed Christmas tradition. Now we also sometimes go to candlelight service at a church. We went to a new church last year because we just moved, and it was awesome. We were excited about going this year, but I don't think they're doing it this year. So, okay, have you guys ever? I don't know if other people do, but like candlelight services, where everybody like lights a candle from your neighbor, and then all of a sudden the whole sanctuary is lit up.
Oh yes, I would usually go to mass on Christmas Eve. So like the masses would usually, like, depending on the church, but at least growing up as a kid, the church we went to had sort of a retelling of like the nativity story. It would involve some of the children. And then in school, like I was always involved in, like, I played piano, so I'd play Christmas songs for mass at school or for whatever. So lots of Christmas music and performances involved in life for me. So.
And that's one of the things I really miss about teaching was I loved, come December, our music teacher would always, he put on a great Christmas show for our school, with our sixth graders. And I loved watching it go from, like, say in, October-ish when they first started singing the songs. I'm like, God, they're already singing Christmas songs in October. But it's because he wanted it to sound good, in mid-December when they had their performance, their concert. And it was always exciting to go. And as a teacher, again, this is kind of like being a parent, right? You would go, and that night, you would go up to the school. They'd have all the risers in the gym, and you go at about 7:00 at night, and all the parents are there, grandparents, siblings. And, these kids that are like pains in the butt a lot of the time, like they're up there singing like angels for like 30 minutes, it's like, it makes you feel proud, even though I had nothing to do with it. It's just my students, the music teacher did it all, but it was always like, oh, this is cool. This is what school should be about. And then the next day the kid would, do something dumb and I'd have to write them up. So it was a lot of fun.
I miss Christmas, like, concerts so much. They're always so fun, or the plays or whatever. So fun. And I saw really quickly that Ashley in the chat was asking about if there's a place to stream Rudolph. And so I want to say that I know Rudolph isn't available for free, but I believe it's on the Vudu, VUDU, and on IndieFlix. And then Charlie Brown is on Apple TV.
It is.
And then a few of the other ones are kind of spread around. They're not all on the same one, which is frustrating, but.
Yeah, I was and I'm the biggest Apple fanboy there is, but I was so upset when Apple did that at first, where they put it on Apple TV only and not on network TV, because not everybody has an Apple product. And I think that, I'm not very much like of the persuasion that everybody has the right to everything, but I think that the Charlie Brown specials, whether it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, they're a part of Americana, and they should be on free network TV for everybody to see. And I know probably kids Mallory's age don't care anymore, but like, it's a rite of passage for us old folks. We want to have the opportunity to share with our young kids whether they want to watch it or not.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wasn't happy about that decision either, and I'm glad it did end up going on network TV, because I mean, Apple TV, like, I have a lot of Apple products, but Apple TV isn't one I subscribe to. But I really think there's something really special about having Rudolph, Charlie Brown, etc., at least once on broadcast, like network TV, where everyone has easy access to it. And, it also, does still do well, like in ratings, and TV advertisers want it because it is that special. Like, you want to, capture people for that time. It is still kind of appointment viewing in a lot of ways. So
totally is. I have Apple TV, and I recorded on the DVR off of PBS just to make a point. Even though the only reason I have Apple TV, I have it, and I have never watched anything on it, is because I got that bundle, because we have like a family plan with Apple Music, and I got Pam likes all the magazines. So we got that, and we got the arcade. So, it was like one of those things, like it was the same price to get, they just kind of threw in that in the fitness, which Mallory's all about that new Apple Fitness. I'm not I'll run, but I cannot do all that other stuff. Like the high intensity workouts. Nope. I watched her do one. No way, but it's crazy. So yeah, we got the whole thing, but I haven't watched anything.
That is awesome. I'm so upset because I just get out of quarantine, and I don't know if you saw my post. I'm I can't run again for 2 more weeks because I just went to my first like upper cervical like chiropractic appointment, which is related to trying to help my vertigo issues. And he's like, okay, like first adjustment, you can't run for 2 weeks. And I was like, what? No.
You'll come back stronger though. Seriously, because every time I get so frustrated when I can't run, I remember hurt my hip in April and I didn't run for like 2 or 3 weeks and it was brutal. But then like when I came back, it was like all fresh again. It was so much better. I'm so glad it made me take a little break. It was a good thing.
Yeah. That is true. I knew you'd understand because we're similar. We like our routines. We like to get out there.
I mean, you're hearing it from me. Like I also like to get out there every single day. So I will not be out there on Christmas morning. I promise you. I'll be sitting in my house, not running, in my PJs, eating biscuits and gravy. Just not caring, not caring about running that day. So that's how it's going to be. Hey, one quick question. I ask you this because we gotta run here because we're running a little bit short on time, but what's another favorite toy that you got as a child? One of mine I wanted to mention because I just thought of this the other day. I got something you're younger, so you probably don't have any idea, but Wade's about my age. He'll get it, and a few other people. I got something called a capsella set. And what it was kind of like Legos, but they were, instead of Legos, they were spheres and they had little like tubes coming off the spheres and you could connect them together and they had gears and stuff like that inside of them, little motorized pieces. They had different kinds of pieces, but you could make like little pontoon boats and they would go in the water, or you can make like a tank kind of thing and it would drive like with track systems. But I remember one year I wanted that so badly and I got it from my grandparents on Christmas Eve over at their house. And so we opened all of our gifts, all my cousins, my sister, we're all there. And I just, in this thing again, it's one of those things like a Lego set, right? It's got like, 100 pieces to it. I tear into it. I'm not at my house. So my parents didn't want me to open it because, of course, I'll probably lose something in the car. But I did. And of course, my cousin and I had to make the pontoon boat and go to the bathtub and get it all wet and all this stuff. But the whole thing was like, we got it just to where we really got to play with it. And then it was time to go to church. And it was like the worst because church meant church and then you had to go straight home and then you had to go to bed and then it was Christmas morning. So I was like, but I still remember like when I got the capsella set, I almost died. I was like so excited for that. And then I couldn't play with it for like 24 hours. It's the worst. So what's something you got? Maybe you have a story like that.
Nice. Yeah. So I didn't have that toy. You're right. I've heard of it. Cause remember, like, I know I'm younger than you, but I'm a super nostalgia person. So I've heard of that, but I've not had it. But so the first one that came to mind was, I remember there was like a year where like, really wanted the like Barbie Volkswagen car, specifically that, like out of all the Barbie things, I specifically wanted that. And my grandparents got it and I was so excited. Cause it's just kind of like, it's like a car. Like, I don't know. I thought it was super cool. You could put like stickers over it. And I had a bunch of the American Girl dolls and, I'm still kind of bitter because, a lot of my, childhood toys, when my parents moved out of like my childhood home, they kind of, I don't know, they got lost or like
same. Mine are all gone. Mine are all gone. Yeah. I don't know where they went.
Yeah, I think I remember you posting that in Discord, and it actually made me happy. Just was like, finally, someone understands. Yes. It's so painful.
Yeah, I mean, my parents got divorced when I was in college, and just like everything was like gone. Because like that was like the worst time. Well, it's probably a great time for my parents to get divorced. If they're gonna have to get divorced, not when I'm little or something. I was an adult. I was in college, but the thing is, like, I didn't. I wasn't like at home that much, so I didn't go and like try to. I need to put this, I could, I was like, I'm too busy. I'm taking classes, I'm working, I'm doing all this. And then all of a sudden all my crap was gone. Like I don't have anything left. So I should have paid more attention.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that. My parents actually did divorce when I was in college as well. So I definitely understand that feeling for sure. Like, so it's difficult. Like I was obviously difficult when you're a kid, but when you're in college, I think that like feeling of home becomes really important. So it's rough then too. So not to get too deep here. I know we're talking about Christmas, but another thing we have in common, I suppose.
Yes, there's a lot. And the thing is like, it could have been worse. It's fine. Still see both, and they're good. So, well, hey, Marlessa, if I don't talk to you, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll be back together next Sunday night. But enjoy the time and eat lots and lots of Christmas cookies. And don't worry about the not running. This is just a little mini vacation. And it's a great time. It's the middle of winter. I mean, it's a good time to take a couple weeks off.
That is a good point. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas with the family, and hope to see you in January if you're still going down there.
I am trying. We hope to get down there because it'll definitely be nicer there than here. I can tell you that much.
For sure.
All right. See you, Melissa. Have a good one.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Well, that is going to do. William in the chat. Yes. I love it. He had a capsella set. He said he also made the boat in the car kind of thing. And he said he's never seen anything like that again. I agree. It was kind of I guess it hit hot for like 1 year. And then, I never even hear about it. I've heard about it one other time on another podcast once. And I was like, capsella, I had that. I love that. So, yeah, it's one of those things. All right. Well, hey, we are going to get out of here. I don't want to take up too much time here on your Christmas Eve, but thank you so much for the amazing year to each and every one of you that has taken the time to listen to the show over 2020. Of course, we are still going to be here next week and having regular shows. We don't stop putting them out as long as you guys like to listen to them. We love talking Disney with you, but I hope that you are spending time with friends and family, however you celebrate. Hope it's a wonderful one for you. Do something nice for somebody around you this week. And just sit back and take it all in and enjoy the season. We are very, very lucky that we get to do what we do, all of us. And I just wish you a very Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. I just hope it's the best one because we deserve it here in 2020. So until we get back together again, we have a great show for you on the feed Friday, Christmas morning in the Be Our Guest podcast studios. Of course, that's a Be Our Guest podcast tradition. So don't forget to grab the show tomorrow morning when you have a couple of minutes. It's not a long one. But we'll be in the studios, Pam, Ricky, and I, and that's what we do. It's a tradition here on the show. So until we talk again, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy your friends and family, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks, everybody. I hope you had a good time tonight. And do we all need Christmas cookies right now? Because I need Christmas cookies. Oh my gosh. I need real Christmas cookies, though. These are just bought from the store. Oh my gosh, Victoria says, now see, okay. How do you do Christmas in the Southern Hemisphere? I got to save this real quick. Let's see here before I lose the show. Live show. December 2020 final or edited. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I guess it's kind of like being in Florida, right? I guess where it's warm, but swimming. Huh. One of the things I do love, I've always said this, I think palm trees with Christmas lights are the coolest thing ever. Hope you're feeling better, Amy. Hope that knee's coming around. I know that's frustrating. And I know you're hanging in there. You're doing all your pre-PT. So hang in there, just do those things and just take it one day at a time. Wade, have fun ringing that bell. Don't throw your elbow out tomorrow. Ding, 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 ding. Give you a little bell here. There you go. Victoria, Merry Christmas down under. Have fun swimming. Oh, William's got an R2D2 that's remote control. He's killing me. How cool is that? Sweaters and shorts, whatever. It's going to be 11 here on Christmas. It just hurts to be alive. All right, guys. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you. We're going to be live tomorrow for one show with Scotty G and Pam. So join us tomorrow afternoon as we record the question show. See you guys. Bye-bye.